It was a busy morning on Baker Street. Sherlock Holmes was sitting in his small apartment, holding a newspaper and occasionally puffing on his pipe. In another corner of the room, Dr. Watson was writing his daily notes when the sound of the doorbell rang out. A few moments later, a young woman entered the room. Her name was Viola Hunter. She sat across from Holmes and began to speak in a nervous tone. A few days ago, I visited an employment agency to find a job suitable for my profession as a governess. There, a man named Jeffro Rucastle made me a very generous offer to teach at a country house called the Copper Beeches with a very high salary. But he had two strange conditions. I had to cut my long hair short and occasionally wear a specific blue dress. At first, I refused because I didn't want to cut my hair. But a few days later, I received a letter saying that if I agreed to cut my hair, the pay would be even higher. I needed the money, so I reluctantly accepted. Holmes gave her a deep look and said, "I can sense your anxiety. If you feel any danger or doubt, contact us immediately." That night, Miss Hunter cut her hair, kept a bundle of it, and the next morning accompanied Mr. Rucastle to the Copper Beeches estate. At first, everything seemed normal. The house was large and beautiful. Mr. Rucastle warned her not to go into the garden at night because the guard dogs were dangerous. Later, his wife, Mrs. Rucastle, greeted her and showed her to her room. While Miss Hunter was arranging her clothes in the drawers, she came across a locked drawer. After searching a bit, she found a key, opened it, and to her shock, found a bundle of hair exactly like the hair she had just cut. Weeks passed, and then Miss Hunter sent a letter to Sherlock Holmes, asking to meet him urgently. At an old cafe, Holmes, Watson, and Miss Hunter met, and she told them everything. Hunter continued, "On the third day of my stay, Mrs. Rucastle asked me to put on the blue dress they had prepared and sit with my back to the window for an hour. During that time, Mr. Rucastle would sit across from me and talk about his memories. Their behavior seemed strange, so I decided to see what was behind me. I hid a mirror under a cloth, and through it, I saw a man standing behind the fence, staring at me intently. Suddenly, Mrs. Rucastle exclaimed, 'Look, how boldly he's staring into the house.' Mr. Rucastle added, 'Miss Hunter, please gesture to him to leave.' Frightened, I turned and waved my hand to signal him to go, and he did. From that day on, I never wore the blue dress again or sat by the window." Holmes, who had been silent until then, asked, "Did anything else happen? Something that made you decide to see us today?" Hunter continued, "There's a room in the house that's always locked. Yesterday, the maid forgot to take the hallway key with her. I went in. Before I could reach the door, I heard footsteps behind me. I tried to escape, but Mr. Rucastle blocked my way. He said, 'That's just a dark room for developing photos. But if I ever catch you near it again, I'll feed you to the garden dogs.'" Terrified, Hunter added, "Today I took the day off to come see you, but I must return by nightfall because Mr. and Mrs. Rucastle are attending a party, and I must take care of their little son, Edward." Holmes asked, "Does Edward have any friends?" Hunter replied, "Yes, they live near our home." Holmes nodded and said, "Very well, at T4:30 today, we'll come to the house. But you must do two things. First, send Edward to his friend's house. Second, send the maid to the basement and lock the door behind her. Take her keys and leave them for us." At 3 p.m., Mr. and Mrs. Rucastle left the house. At 4:30, Miss Hunter followed the plan, then came to the main hall wearing the blue dress. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson arrived at the front door, but realized someone else had already unlocked it and gone in. A scream echoed from inside, and they rushed in. Hunter opened the door for them. They headed straight for the forbidden room. At that moment, Mr. and Mrs. Rucastle returned. Seeing the open door, Mr. Rucastle stormed in furiously. When he saw Holmes and the broken window, he shouted. "Where's my daughter?" Holmes calmly replied, "That's the question we should be asking you." Enraged, Rucastle ran out to release the dog, unaware that the animal hadn't been fed in 2 days. The dog attacked him. Watson ran into the yard and shot the dog dead. Rucastle was wounded and carried to his room. His wife went to fetch a doctor. Meanwhile, the maid was released from the basement and confessed. "I'll tell you the truth. Miss Alice is my friend, and she's actually Mr. Rucastle's daughter from his first marriage. After he remarried, she became depressed and wasn't allowed to speak. Then she met a man named Mr. Fowler, who proposed to her. But since Alice had inherited wealth after her mother's death and had handed it to her father, Mr. Rucastle feared her future husband would make a legal claim. So he asked Alice to sign a document giving up all rights. But she refused. After that, Mr. Rucastle began to mistreat and humiliate her. He cut her hair, locked her in a room, and pretended she was sick and had disappeared. That's the room that was always locked. Holmes said, "So, to mislead Fowler, you came to London and hired Miss Hunter to sit by the window in the blue dress and trick him." But Fowler was a determined man. He lingered around the house, got in touch with you. You gave him the garden key, made sure the dog was chained, and he climbed up with a ladder, broke the window, and rescued Alice. The maid nodded, confirming Holmes's deductions. After these events, Miss Hunter returned to London. Mr. Rucastle, due to his injuries, was never the same again, and his wife took care of him. Miss Alice and Mr. Fowler married and moved to the island of Mauritius. And thus, the strange mystery of the Copper Beeches was finally solved.